with a moment of silence, please. And if we can all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk Domingo, if you'll take roll call first, please.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Green. Jackson.
Here.
Lawler.
Here.
Davis. Here. Brown.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Here, and just as a reminder, if you happen to have cell phones on you, you can make sure that they're turned off or on silent. It would be appreciated. So we're gonna start off this eve. Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to approve of the agenda?
I'd like to revise the agenda if possible. Under section 11, item F, would like to add, change that agenda item to include the approval of a contract with Greg Guccio, who was our facilitator last year, to help us facilitate our strategic goals for 2020. And I don't know how you spell his last name.
No,
But
you
you do.
have it.
So I have a motion to approve of the agenda with the amendment to item F for approval of seeking a moderator, correct?
Correct.
So moved.
So
So that is the support.
yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So first up, we have an update from our EDC CEO, Bridget Ammerman.
Oh, I see. It's already calling. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm sorry for the mask, but I don't feel well and I don't want you to not feel well. So, thank you for having me. I tried to prepare some written notes this time in case you wanted to take any notes or call me later with any questions. I thought it might be helpful, and I will email these to you, Jill, in case you want to put them in the packet. This is the format that we usually use to report out to the EDC, so I thought I would use a similar format. Currently at the EDC, we are working on some competencies that have been defined for us this year. Governance competencies, as you know, we are looking for board members, so we're doing a lot of recruiting and talking and asking people to apply. And we're also working closely with our task forces. We have about 8 task forces, and we use those for a lot of community engagement. Under the leadership, we're working on cultural initiatives in our office and in our current environment, and we're also learning to assume positive intent. So as we assume positive intent, it opens up our minds and our hearts to be able to think whatever they just said, I think they meant good by that, and we want to hear it that way. And so by hearing that, it helps us respond that way. So we're learning about helping others to also work in that same fashion. So we're working on that in our task forces and in any other guiding and mentoring that we're doing. Our community relation competencies, our Albion Restaurant Group has established a pattern of the second Monday of every month. We're meeting at the event center, which is the old funeral home. And every month we'll bring in a different vendor, and we will make sure that they get compensated for a couple $100s worth of food. in case I don't sell any, but this is a way that we've been taught to maybe bring to light some new opportunities for restaurateurs or folks who want to become a restaurateur. So this is an opportunity for someone who maybe doesn't have a storefront to be able to get out in the front of the public. So we had our first one, and because of a scheduling conflict, we didn't have the menu we hoped for, but we are having another one in March, and so look for those to come up. Fiscal management, of course, is critical all the time, and so we are operating to budget at this point and continue to do so. The next section we normally report out on our EDC multicultural goals. The first item, you have a flyer in front of you. This is our elevating Black voices, the power of resilience and representation. So this is Lisa Howes. Lisa Howes and I used to serve together on the MICPA board of directors. She's a CPA. She's also been in the House of Representatives, ran for mayor of Detroit, and she's an entrepreneur. So she's an author and a speaker now. And the speaking on entrepreneur, I believe, will be insightful and inspirational for those in our community that want to be entrepreneurs and continue in that path. So we're very excited. We're calling it sort of the capstone for Black History Month. It's on February 27th. And if anybody needs this flyer to send out to friends or family, just let me know. I can get it to you. We attended the Growing Southwest Michigan together on the west side of the state, featuring CEO Quentin Messer, which was very inspirational for us to know what the MEDC is trying to do and the tools they're giving us. We also attended the Michigan Minority Supplier Development Council in Battle Creek. We're finding that a lot of things are coming very close to us that haven't been close to us, but because of Ford, these opportunities are going to be there. So we got some folks together and took them and made sure that they get in front of folks that can help them grow their businesses. We did put in for the Put Your Town on Your Map. It was an MEDC grant that we're hoping that maybe the city will win. We just trying to help out the greater good. So it would benefit the city, the EDC, the DDA, because it would be signage. So we're praying that maybe we will be successful and we'll be able to go and pitch that in April. And we had 2 optimized Main Street winners. We talked about at the last board meeting, $2,500 for technical support for small businesses. On the 5-year goals, we have been working a lot. I can't even say what a lot means, but it's a lot on site readiness and land accumulation. In conjunction with that, we've been assisting with the other project because they kind of collided. So we're trying to pitch in and be of support to the city. And we are happy to announce that we have come to an agreement with the seller who will sell us just shy of 3 acres for $12,000 an acre, which is a really good price for market right now. And that should be an excellent place for your water tower. So we're very excited, put a fair amount of time to making that happen. And the EDC board will approve that officially tomorrow. But we have that ready for you tonight. I have some information if you need it. We also are working very hard on supporting some expansions in the West Industrial Park, the current industrial park. Colson Industries in the next several meetings. Jill was patient and kind enough to coach me through the next steps on the IDD, the Industrial Development District, and the PRD, the Plant Rehabilitation District. And I believe those public notices went out. And so those will continue to come forward to council. And once we have been able to get those approved, we will then come back with tax abatements, the IFT requests that would align with those. But the district come first and then the IFT. So we're just working it in order. They're very excited. They're very appreciative for the help. They also are applying for a special grant through KCC for training. And that's a special grant that comes up about twice a year, and KCC gets a call and they say, do you have anybody? So we had Colson in the ready. And so when they called on Friday, we could say, we have you in the ready. So pretty excited about everything we're able to do to increase jobs there. We're working hard with the DDA to make sure there's a strong understanding of how the new dollars are going to be used from some of the projects that the developer has been paid off, but now we have money flowing into the left fund. So there's some unique opportunities for synergy there, and so we're working really hard to communicate how that. We still are, many of you have met Tracy at meetings in the past. She's working on her grandmother's place at 618 Austin Avenue. She has a dream and a goal of having a restaurant there, and we're working very hard to support her MEDC application and also getting her in front of several lenders to complete the lending process. So we're very excited about that. We're partnering with the SBDC to assist us with that. And then finally, that area, we still are trying to imagine maybe doing corridor infrastructure authorities on Austin Avenue and on North and South Avenue. And we have really just talked about it. We haven't taken much action on this. We talked about it in our community engagement task force last month. And the takeaway from that meeting was to begin to get more input from others in the area of what they'd like to see there. But at the same time, look at the technicalities and begin to get that in front of the EDC board and then promote that up to the city council. I don't think that will be an EDC thing to do, but I think it would be good for the EDC board to look at it and decide if it seems like a good tool, which I think it is for business development in those areas. And then we would bring it to you and see if it's a priority that you'd like to adopt. It will take quite a bit of work setting up new boards. You know, there's a lot to it, but I do think that it's a tool that would entice developers to come to that area. In the housing area, we continue to support the homeless solutions. We also are working closely with Norfolk Homes and working on 36 potential single-family homes on Watson Street, up and down outside of the old senior high school. So looking very, very excited for the potential for attainable workforce housing that would go on Watson. So that would be very exciting. We're working with the planning department. I've asked them if we could make this public. They said yes, they're very excited about it. If anyone is familiar with the work they're doing in Jackson in a program called 100 Homes in Jackson, it would be a very similar program. So we're aligning some MISTA money and some private developer dollars, and then working on what the city can do to help lessen the load on the developer. So we'll probably be having some asks, but we hope we can find a method that will work for everyone. We did receive our notice to proceed for the My Hope Phase 3, which is very exciting. Takayla Williams, as you know, is running that program in our office. There are people in and out, in and out, in and out. So I know we are touching a lot of folks. So she's very busy scheduling energy audits, which then qualifies a home for the repairs. And we have things happening all over the place. So I'm super excited, and I'm excited to watch the success that she's having. And I think it's really a great outreach, and I just really thank you for the support. That's $500,000 we'll be able to spend here. And then when we get our notice to proceed on Phase 4, that would be another $500,000. So we're really excited about that. We are working closely with Oak Meadows. As you know, this summer they are moving away from moving away from an income limited residences and attempting to attract more market rate and potentially college students. So this is a change in their structure that we've probably never seen before. So I'm working very hard to understand the impact on the lack of the lesson of low income housing and what that will mean in our area. So we're trying to stay in front of that. If you are interested, I hope you are, March 7th from 5 to 7 p.m. That's Thursday, March 7th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Ludington Center is our annual economic forecast. And we have asked the Woda Cooper Company to come and talk a little bit about the application they have in out on North Eaton behind KFC, so they will give us a heads up on how they see that coming along. And for those of you who have met Phyllis, who is another developer with the Woda Cooper team, who is out of Muskegon. She is working with the homeless situation. She is giving us some guidance on a couple of other tricks of the trade that we can use here in Albion that she has used in other areas. And she will also be at that event to talk about her CAP program, which is construction, the ability to hire people to do construction work. So it's an apprenticeship program, and the state of Michigan is big right now on apprenticeship programs. So this is not a time for us to have our head in the sand, but anytime we see the word apprenticeship, we should be getting on board, because that's a great way for training to occur. We also are working to understand the impact of the Maple Grove sale. I will tell you, I cannot give you an opinion at this point on that. I do see it on the agenda tonight, but I just only received part of the information that I needed to really make an educated opinion and give you any advice from the EDC, from the housing perspective. I guess I would hope that maybe I could have some more time to be able to digest the information I have and then wait for the rest of the information. City manager's been very gracious to provide what she could right away, but I just need a little more information, a little more time to be able to really assess the impact of that sale, and, you know, if that's the absolute right thing to do, or if there's anything else we could do, or if there's any way to improve that sale. So I would ask if there's any way to have a little more time, that would be awesome. And that's kind of all I have to report. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Councilman Lawler?
Thank you so much. I'm excited that, the Albion entities are working together and communicating on a positive level. How much, time would you think you would need to get your stuff together and?
Yeah, so, good question. I come back from the second meeting in March, and so maybe if I could have until that meeting and I could give you my recommendation at that time. I'm sure I could give it to city manager ahead of that, but certainly by then I could certainly have, a good recommendation.
You said March 7th?
The second meeting in March, I'm not sure what the date would be right off the top of my head. But if I had my dream come true, I would say that's what I would wish I could have.
Councilman Williams?
Yep, thank you, Mayor. The My Hope program. So you guys were already awarded the money for the phase 3, is that what's happened? When are you guys, or have you already started with disbursements?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we drew down our first 50,000 because you can draw it down in tranches. So we're using that to fund the energy audits, because those have to come first. And then as soon as those energy audits are completed, then the homeowner actually has some legwork to do. They actually reach out to get 2 bids from a contractor. So once the energy audit says, yep, this looks like it falls within the guidelines of the grant because it's going to increase the efficiency of your home, then the homeowner has a responsibility to reach out to 2 contractors and get a bid. And we have this long list of contractors, and of course, we're helping, to connect all those dots. So we have drawn our first 50 down. We will only spend that if I give the right approval, so it's a 2-step process. Kayla signs off, and then I sign off, and then that check goes directly to the contractor. So that is in the works. Once the energy audits get rolling, it'll fall in domino after that.
Okay, is the phase 4 a separate grant? Did you have to apply for that as well?
Yeah, so we had applied for phase 3 and been awarded, and then applied for phase 4 and been awarded.
Okay.
So it's 2 $500,000 grants.
Okay, how many households do you think you'll be able to?
Yeah, great question. It all depends on the dollar amount. You can only spend up to 25,000 on your home.
Okay.
But most of our repairs are not that level, so right now we have 40 people in the pipeline. And we would anticipate we will be able to serve most of them through the first grant. If not, they would just fall into the phase 4 grant.
Okay. Now with that grant, was there an income limit on that grant?
There is, and if you ask me what it is, I absolutely couldn't tell you, so I'm sorry.
No problem. You mentioned the 100 homes program.
Mhm.
What were you saying in relation to that?
So the 100 Homes program, sort of partners several, in Jackson, the way they did it was. The city came in and helped with some of the water sewer hookups so that that fee maybe could be less. Then Mishta has a program, if they're of the right income, the buyer, they can get a $10,000 down payment. And then the developer was careful to design in a way that kept it attainable. And then anything else that you can do within your community that would help that person become a first-time homeowner. So if we can do financial literacy training and we can do other things that would help them be eligible for a different style loan.
Right.
So there's kind of a whole stack of things that we put together. And that's what we're trying to do here is really emulate that. Cause I mean, it's working over there. They're on like house 10 now and then things are really chugging along. So
Okay, so, the intent of the program is to create affordable housing for members of the community?
it's really attainable workforce housing.
Okay,
When I say affordable, I'm thinking about that 60% AMI and less. This is the 60 to 120.
got you.
So we call that workforce attainable, missing middle.
Right,
So it's the workforce piece.
I got you. It's, okay. It meets the need of the housing that's not the 200,000 plus.
Right,
housing.
it's like the 150, 160, 170,000. It's geared toward, college employees, school employees. I mean, you're right there near the high school. So folks that are working and want to be in a house of their own. Again, it's like we have different slots for housing, and this is that one slot that could free up some other affordable or could free up, someone in an apartment that's ready to go to a house. So it's the whole process where you kind of graduate to a different style house.
I got you. Starter home,
Right.
yeah, meeting that gap, okay.
Mhm.
You guys still early in that process?
We're early in the process, but they did buy their first lot from the land bank.
Okay.
And so we are ready to go on that one lot to see how it goes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Councilman French, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what does Fulton Industries do?
Did you say Fulton Industries?
Yeah, they make casters or what do they do?
Oh, Colson Industries, that's my fault.
Yeah.
Cause I probably didn't.
You have a call, I get it, yeah. Cool.
Colson, yeah, it's Albion Industries, so.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's their parent group.
Councilman Davis?
I have a question regarding the Watson Street project. I just left a meeting this afternoon with the superintendent. And of course, that's the location for the proposed new school. Are you all communicating at all in terms of possibilities of an apartment complex and a new school, or are you working together at all on that? Because she didn't mention anything about that.
So it's not apartments, it's single family homes.
Single
And
family homes.
And back in June and July, she had met with me and asked me to start working on this. So this actually came from her.
Is that the location where they were planning on doing the youth build projects?
Mhm.
Behind,
Yeah,
behind the Opportunity School.
Mm-mm.
no,
Not-
across the street where you park across the street is where they were discussing it. That's adjacent to the Maple Grove,
Apartments.
Kind of behind.
property.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So this project is up and down Watson Street, like in the front of the high school. And so a lot of that property is already owned by the school, if
It
it's on
is.
the school side.
Right.
But the work that she's doing, that we're all doing behind the school with the school expansion is very different than the housing, which is on Watson Street.
Any other questions for Ms. Amberman? All right, thank you. Public comment. At this time, if there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council in regards to an agenda item only, you can come forth at this time, give us your name and address, and 3 minutes is yours.
My name is CJ Frost, 401 East Porter Street. Good evening, Mayor Snyder, City Manager Snyder, and members of City Council. As always, it's an honor to address the chamber tonight. I hope you don't mind that I refer to some notes that I jotted down. I would like to voice my support for Mr. Al Smith as you consider him for the ADC board. I know him to be a dedicated public servant across many of Albion's volunteer and community organizations. He is a tireless advocate for our honored military veterans through his leadership in our local American Legion and Sons of the American Legion organizations. He serves our community's legacy with the Historical Society. And he and his wife have selflessly stood up for the protection and shelter for our community's homeless animals. There are a few places in Albion where good is happening without Al Smith being present. Thank you.
Anybody else like to stand and address council? All right. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Support. City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis. Yes. Glenn,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, meeting adjourned 7:29 PM to go into closed session. 2 P.M. City Clerk Domingo, to take roll call for us, please.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Brent,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
and Mayor Snyder.
Here. In your packets, you have the consent calendar items, which are your February 5th study session minutes and your February 5th regular session minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Do I have a motion to approve of the recommendation for the Albion Building Authority to accept the offer from Lark Community Development?
So moved.
City Manager Snyder.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the Albion Building Authority, they met about a few weeks ago to review the two offers that were received for the Maple Grove apartments. After reviewing the two offers, they have made a recommendation to the city council to approve Larson Tisdale or Lark Community Development Group. They're out of Southfield, Michigan. Gershon with the Affordable Housing Advisors, he is with us to kind of go over both proposal and answer any questions that you may have before we proceed. So I will hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Haley. This is Gershon. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm with Affordable Housing Advisors, for any of the group that doesn't know. And this is all we do is represent nonprofit and for-profit owners of similar properties, HUD subsidized properties, both here in Michigan and throughout the country. So I can give a quick abstract if you'd like. Anyone involved of the property, the purchaser you're speaking of, moving to accept their offer is Lark Community Development Group. As Haley said, they're from Southfield, Michigan. Their principal, Larry or Lawrence Tisdale, has a 40-plus year history as a developer and owner of HUD subsidized apartments. He has an excellent relationship, fortunately, with MISTA and HUD. We also represent MISTA as a note here in the state of Michigan. Their offer was vetted throughout the process. There was initially more offers, and it was narrowed down to these two offers. They're at $2,150,000. They are offering a certain earnest money deposit, which is $175,000 deposit within 3 business days after a purchase and sale agreement is executed by purchaser and seller. And they are also offering $50,000 of that deposit to be non-refundable when the agreement is signed. And then an additional $20,000 to become non-refundable at the end of their due diligence period, for, of course, a total of $70,000. That's a 45-day due diligence period they're proposing. And of course, they'd be seeking conventional financing. And as I mentioned earlier, they have more than, well, I didn't mention, but they do have more than 4,000 units, 40 plus year history owning. They're excellent stewards of the property, and they are quite committed to the transaction, and they contact us weekly, if not every other day. So if you have any specific questions, I'm glad to try to address them as best I can.
Councilman Williams?
Thank you. My question is more so along the line of guarantees that the property will remain senior housing, senior living, and the time frame in which that guarantee is. Could you explain that at all?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, Councilman. The nature of the asset and how it was developed, it's currently as you pointed out, an elderly facility. So it's elderly, and there's some opportunities for folks below 62 if they have some disabilities. The property, if a sale is consummated, entered into, and then ultimately closed, the new owner would actually be entering into a new use agreement through with Mishta, but it is administered by Mishta, but is of course a HUD agreement. And that agreement will extend both its elderly status, as well as it being an affordable asset, for, a minimum really of 30 years, because 15 years initial period and then a additional 15-year extended period. So it's a minimum of 30 additional years. Furthermore, this owner only owns affordable assets. That's just a matter of fact. It doesn't provide you a guarantee. The guarantee is the contract that they'll sign with Mishta, HUD ostensibly by way of Mishta. So it's a new use agreement, and that would be their goal, and that would be the only way they would actually buy the property.
And Councilman, I'll jump in here, and this is Jack. I work with Gershon, and apologies, my video's not on him. We just moved offices, and I'm experiencing some technology problems, which I'm sure everyone can relate to. But what Gershon's speaking to is the HAP contract, that housing assistance payment contract. When the property is sold, HUD, the government, will require LARC or any buyer of any property like Maple Grove to sign a new HAP contract on top of what's already in place. So there's already a HAP contract, which I believe expires, I may be mistaken, but in 2027. And so that affordability would be extended another 20 years or 30 years past that. So like Gershon said, LARC only owns affordable housing, and they want to purchase the property to continue its use as elderly designated affordable housing.
Perfect.
They
Thank
have
you.
no intention of making it market rate.
Now, Gerson mentioned that, if they couldn't get the HAP contract, that they wouldn't move forward with the purchase.
Yeah, they're only committed to affordable assets, affordable HUD subsidized apartments. That's their interest is only in that. And frankly, our team only sells HUD subsidized properties. Not one of the properties we sold in the last several years has gone from affordable to what's market rate. And we very much appreciate and honor and respect the concern that any affordable housing would be taken, what we call outside of the program, and made into market rate housing. So we applaud everything going on in your city and a lot of the initiatives to try and increase the footprint of affordable housing. But this transaction contemplated legally when the contract's entered into, and frankly, they'll put it in the purchase and sale agreement with the sellers, the city's counsel, with your legal counsel. They're not afraid of that. That is not it's not a notion from us as a broker. That's 100% their commitment in every level, is that it'd be an affordable asset.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for either one of the gentlemen online? All right, city manager, Snyder, you want to add anything? No? All right, well, thank you both for being with us to provide that additional information and being available to help answer the questions. We sat through a pretty lengthy closed session to review both of the offers, and we got some reassurances back then about the process moving forward. So we appreciate all of your hard work and the due diligence that you did in getting these offers to us. So we appreciate that.
Yeah,
Something
it's
I
an
would
honor.
add.
Thank you.
The only thing I would add is city administration would support the Albion Building Authority's recommendation to move forward with LARC.
All right. Any other, yep, Attorney Hartnett?
One other thing to consider too, that, and I don't know, actually, if the city manager was aware of this, because this just dawned on me, is upon the sale of Maple Grove to any third party will trigger the termination of the Albion Trust, and the balance of the Albion Trust assets will flow to the city.
That's my concern. Yeah, that's my concern.
Might that a concern?
I'm just saying, if that belongs to us and that goes over to that trust, because there was a time when that money was supposed to be allocated for Maple Grove, and then it turned around and became some other type of trust, and it's not even connected to Maple Grove.
No, the Albion Trust still is connected to Maple Grove. The primary use of those funds are for anything tied to Maple Grove. So
What's
the
the other
Albion,
name of, isn't that the name of the?
So the way that the Albion Trust is set up, it got renewed a few years ago, but the primary purpose of it is for capital improvements for Maple Grove, and only to the extent that the assets aren't needed for capital improvements in Maple Grove, it can be used for other capital improvements in the city.
Yeah.
Cause we borrowed out of that.
Yep.
We took money out of that to help with.
Parks.
Yeah, the trustees grant money out of that for capital improvements. But once Maple Grove is sold, the terms of the trust will cause the trust to terminate, and those funds will go to the city's general fund.
so they're not leaving the city. It will come
stays.
to the city.
No, it stays to.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
so.
Councilman Waller?
Thank you so much. Mayor, I'm sorry, City Manager Snyder, can you do like a recap of how we got to this point? Because some are asking me and I'd rather you give it than me give it.
Yep. So what kind of started this process was the Albion Building Authority. They had a facility assessment completed pre-COVID on the necessary improvements needed to the Maple Grove facility. Kind of COVID put a stall to that. But they brought up or re-engaged the conversation. And obviously since it's been a few years, and I think they're looking at over $3 million in improvements back in 2019, and with costs that has only, we all assume, gone up. So they worked with them before, the Affordable Housing Advisors. They've been approached to kind of have these conversations. And so they just brought that up again. That's when we reached out to see what the options are. And getting into that process, we determined that it's actually owned by the city. However, there is a lease in place between the city and the Albion Building Authority. So the Albion Building Authority is responsible for hiring a managing company to manage and oversee the day-to-day operations of the Maple Grove facility. So that's when we had to bring it to City Council to approve, starting to engage and work with the Affordable Housing Advisors, which you all did. And the ABA supported that as well. So that's what kind of started the process, and that's why it's here before you all to approve the sale of that. But they began having these conversations because that building needs a lot of improvements, and they've had received a lot of complaints from the current condition. So they're trying to figure out a solution to improve the facility for the residents who live there.
Thank you so much. I got,
Go ahead.
So, okay, we're discussing housing, and I'm really not being funny, but I am promoting me and city manager and EDC lady have talked about it, about working together. So have we worked together with the EDC, or do they need to be involved, or have we thought about it? Is it something that we need to do with them, or is it anything that we need to do with them?
We provided Virgie with all of the information. I know she's reached out to both Jack and Gershon. They provided her with the marketing materials. She has the packet as well, and she did send over a few questions. We've provided that info. I know she's still waiting for some that our finance office is working together to get to her. I would look to Attorney Harkness if you can weigh in on how that interlocal agreement between us and the EDC plays into this transaction.
Well, I mean, the idea with the interlocal agreement is that the EDC is going to assist with the development of new affordable housing and funding and things like that. I mean, what we're talking about in this transaction is taking an asset that we already own and selling it to another company that's just going to carry on its purpose in its current form. So I mean, we're not developing new housing here, we're just turning over an asset in exchange for purchase price.
Okay, I was just asking because I just want to make sure that you know, we all are working together to do something positive. So it's no, it's just me just trying to make, the connection between two entities, to work together and just promote it. That's all I'm doing.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes, I was just going to say, at the last meeting, we heard about the deplorable conditions that exist at Maple Grove. And I wouldn't want, at this time, whatever we can do as a community, I wouldn't want my relative living with rodents and leakage and unsanitary kind of environments. So, you know, working together, doing what we need to do to make sure our citizens are safe and in a healthy environment is deplorable. And we wouldn't want that for our relatives.
I can say the ABA board, they've been working with the management company to try to get this addressed, but they feel that a further step a different solution needs to be determined.
And we did get information that, you know, work would probably start immediately. So. Any other questions or comments? City Clerk Domingo? City Clerk Domingo? Councilwoman Lawler?
Thank you so much. It just was brought to my attention. Do you have anything to say, from the EDC?
Unfortunately, that,
We can't do, I couldn't bring her to the front to ask about none of this. That's what you're getting ready to tell me?
I mean, that's against protocol. That's not how we,
Is it
it is, yes.
for me to ask her to come up here and answer? That's against,
This is a council decision, so we're at that point.
but to make an informed decision, I might need more information. I think.
Christian, could you advise on if this transaction goes through, typically when does like the renovation process or what that looks like when developers acquire new properties?
Okay, that wasn't what I was gonna say. I see you shaking your head. No, I wanna know why. If I just gotta put it on the floor, I wanna know why she's shaking her head, no.
But see,
That's all I'm
I
asking.
understand, but this is, it's not a back and forth. We don't,
No,
we don't
you
engage.
don't have to be back and forth.
I know, but we don't engage the gallery during the regular.
That's just not a
Private.
regular gallery person, though. She may have the information that I need.
I think the people who have the information either are the ones that do this.
But you can't tell me the information that I need. I might need something from her. But if you say, no, I can't get no information from her, I get it one way or another. This subject will come back up again.
Councilman French.
Let's recall the question, please.
Support.
City Clerk Domingo.
Councilmember Williams,
What,
Just so I'm clear, we're not voting on the call the question.
No,
voting-
we're we're voting on whether to purchase this property, sell this property or not.
Wait, you moved to call the question, so the calling the question is ending debate.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, so now we're voting on the topic.
The most, no, no, no.
Voting on top.
You're voting on his motion to call the question.
I didn't realize the
to
call
end
question
debate.
had to be voted on.
Yes.
So City Clerk Domingo.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Brent,
Yes,
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Now we're voting on the approval of the proposed agreement.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Oh.
Davis,
Yes.
Brent,
yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the updated EDC investigation RFP?
So move.
Support. City Manager Slater?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So after our last regular council meeting, I've just taken the RFP that was released back last fall to bring someone on board to do the investigation into the EDC. The only change that has been made, the issue date has been updated to February 21st of 2024, with the response deadline of March 22nd, 2024. The scope of work has not changed. Everything has remained the same as the original RFP. So we're just looking for approval and then we will get that issued out tomorrow.
Questions or comments? So again, this is up to $10,000.
Correct.
Yep, same as that.
Any questions?
Councilmember Reed,
Wait a minute, would you go through that again, please, Haley?
Yes, so this is the RFP that was released last fall to bring an outside legal counsel in to conduct an investigation into the termination of the EDC CEO or president last summer. So it's the same scope of work that council approved back when it was initially released. The only change that has been made is a new issue date, which will be tomorrow, and a new response deadline.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Anderson.
Yes. Motion to approve the reading of the ordinance 2024-01 to amend the fence ordinance.
Don't move.
Do I have support?
Support.
Director Arlen.
Evening, Mayor, evening, council. What you have in front of you is an ordinance to amend Article 18 or Chapter 18 rather of the Code of Ordinances to amend the fence ordinance to create a process within the height material restrictions for our fences that allows a process within the fence approval process for an applicant to take their application to the Planning Commission to apply for a variance to the height or materials of that fence when it is within the clear vision triangle of two intersecting right of ways, which is for most folks, a corner lot, your two sides coming off from the sidewalk. So this is an amendment to the fence ordinance, which will allow folks to seek out a variance to the current height and material restrictions in the clear vision triangle. And we're recommending approval.
Director Harkness, were you gonna add anything?
The bulk of the amendment is contained within subsection D of section 18-301. And as Director Arnold just said, it provides an avenue to go to Planning Commission if they're seeking to have a height deviation for a fence that falls within that right angle triangle 15 feet each way from the corner. So the idea is, as long as Planning Commission determines that having that height deviation on the fence is not going to be a public safety risk, you know, by way of example, approaching an intersection, not being able to see cross traffic because of the fence, that would be a situation where Planning Commission would say, no, we're not going to do this. Whereas, or in contrast, if it's not going to be a public safety issue, you can clearly see oncoming traffic from, or cross traffic rather, they could grant it. So just provides an avenue for individuals to seek potential deviation from the ordinance. The only, as I indicated during the work session, the only update we need to do is just change the first reading date from February 19th to the 20th.
Questions? Yep, Councilman French.
I would happily make that amendment. Change the date.
Support that.
Yeah.
Um, do we have any other questions or comments for the vote? City Clerk Domingo. Thank you, Ian.
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Anderson.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2020? I'm sorry.
You voted on the amendment. I think you
You vote on that.
need to vote on the main question. All right.
City Clerk Domingo.
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Anderson.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-05 to approve funding for the Transportation Authority for Calhoun County?
So moved.
Support.
City Manager Snyder.
Yeah, so the Transportation Authority of Calhoun County, or TAC, is up and running. Councilmember Davis serves as our representative. As of now, only the 4 cities in Calhoun County have opted in to participate in the TAC. So that is City of Albion, City of Battle Creek, City of Marshall, and City of Springfield. At the workshop between the TAC board and the local municipality leaders, the discussions were had that the first step will be to bring on a consultant on board to work with the TAC to kind of get them up and running. So they will be responsible for formulating the bylaws and policies, identifying the proposed service scenarios, budget development, legal guidance, and other duties. We are looking at a proposed budget of $250,000 for an 18-month contract. They are requesting contributions from all municipalities who are participating. So included in the resolution, there's a breakdown of what that looks like. So City of Battle Creek has committed to 60%, 60% or 150,000, Calhoun County 20% or 50,000, City of Marshall 10% or 25,000, and then the City of Albion and City of Springfield each 5% or 12,500. So we are recommending just approval to allocate funds to support the initiative to bring countywide transportation to our community. As shared in the study session, both myself and Councilmember Davis, we did voice concern that if we are going to, because it will require a millage, a countywide millage to support this. And if we are asking our residents to support this, that we want to make sure that we are well represented. Because right now, I think being on the far east side of the county, sometimes we may be overlooked or not involved as much as other areas within our county. So we have voiced that concern, but we are making the recommendation that we allocate those funds to continue to move this initiative forward. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments?
The only other comment is that this is not the connector. This is an addition to the connector. So it will enhance our transportation opportunities for schooling, for work, for medical appointments and things like that. So this is something that is needed.
Councilwoman Moore, do you have?
No.
City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-06 for their performance resolution for municipalities?
So move.
Support.
Chief Kip or City Manager Slater?
Yes, so I can cover this. So this is a required resolution. As you, council, you're aware, you approved the purchase of the flat safety system or cameras for our community. So this is required to access the right of ways that are along state roadways. So just by adopting this resolution, it just is the next step in that process in getting those cameras installed. So we're just recommending approval.
Questions, comments for City Manager Slater? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the 2024 goal setting along with hiring a mediator for this process?
So move.
Support.
Manager Slater?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So included in your packet, I've worked with the department heads to come up, review the 2023 goals and then identify new goals that keeps us on track to meet the 4 key focus areas that were identified in our last year strategic goal session, which are improving infrastructure and city services, making Albion a destination, build and strengthen strategic partnerships, strengthen financial position and increase capacity to respond to challenges. So included in your packet are proposed goals for 2024. Based off of this discussion in our study session, I will be reaching out to Mr. Greg Buchow, who facilitated our work session last year to kind of come in and help us go through the kind of the proposed goals and we can prioritize and get them set for 2024.
Councilwoman Davis?
Madam, City Manager, can we use the word facilitator rather than negotiator or
Yep, he will.
operator, but
Yes, he will facilitate that work session
Okay,
and make sure
thank
that
you.
we're staying on track to keep the goals that meet our key focus areas.
Any other questions or comments? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember French,
Yes.
Williams,
Excuse me.
Yeah.
What are we voting on?
the facilitator.
So I thought, didn't we move that to,
Isn't this a discussion?
I thought we moved it lower, but it's under F?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and it's just for the
Facilitator.
facilitator, yes, sorry. I'm sorry, I thought we moved it lower, guys.
Councilwoman Reed?
Gotcha. My bad, I
Yes.
didn't write it.
Oh, did you?
I'm fine, I always.
Okay.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. We have a motion to approve the board appointment for Al Smith to the Economic Development Corporation.
So moved.
Support.
So you do have the application in front of you. It was sent to you all as well this morning in your email. And Mr. Smith is with us this evening. Do we have questions or comments on the application or for Mr. Smith? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Williams,
No.
Reed,
No.
Jackson,
No.
Lawler,
No.
Davis,
No.
just say no. Okay. French
No.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Future agenda items. Anything council would like to see in an upcoming week?
I'm not sure if we have to make this an agenda item per se, but, mailboxes for, so that we can respond, well, so that we can get, complaints and things directly. The other day I went to get some complaints and there was a stack of them, but it was spread out through a lot of departments and, precincts. I'll forward them to you guys as I finish going through them, but,
Do we have a complaint box?
I believe Bonnie just gets the complaints.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I went down there, it was a lot more than I had seen. So we may just wanna put mailboxes up so that when they come in, they could be put into, you know, whatever. Like I said, I don't think we need to vote on that per se, but
So
I think it just depends on, the complaints that are turned into Bonnie are typically for public services. I know I've received complaints and I've emailed, if it's emailed them to specific council people, if they've been asked to share with them. So it just depends on which department they turn their complaints into.
okay,
But yeah, Bonnie should only be receiving the ones for public services.
okay. I'll follow up with you after the meeting.
Okay.
I got the folder with me, so.
Okay.
But it's for other.
Well, if somebody complains about something that's in whatever precinct, like they just were all in there. So I had copies of them all. You know,
that's fascinating.
yeah.
Just get some.
I wonder how many years I've been cut.
Okay, that's all.
All right, any other agenda items? Yes. French?
So I'm sure everybody in the council got this too, because I did. The office of Senator Peters, our state representative in Washington, has just put out a call for allocations from the federal government regarding projects. In reading just through the rural development section, which is, I think, what we've gotten funds from before, we more than meet the criteria for like 50% of a project cost. So we should think about having a conversation at least about what we might go for.
I also saw that, and it's is it late March when it's due?
March 12th is the due date.
So we only have a meeting, so maybe we discuss this in the study session at the next meeting?
Yeah, that'd be fine. I mean, yeah, I mean, and if City Manager Snyder and her team can get together and figure out, I was just thinking the water project would be a,
So I did share in a manager's report a few meetings ago that we have started working with the consultant we brought on board last year, as well as internal staff to submit another neighborhood road project to gear toward our local roads. Because we know there are grant funding available for streets, but not a lot geared towards the local streets. They typically fall on the community to cover those costs. I will resend that list. I'm drawing a blank. I know it's in precinct 3 though, the majority over by Barnes Park. Majority of our local streets are in poor condition, but these ones are
really bad.
very bad.
That was in the agenda packet.
Yes,
Was it last?
I think it was like a couple back in January. So I will resend that list. So we've already
Yeah.
started brainstorming different projects to submit, but
Okay.
I
and we
will
can
send that
submit
out.
more than one,
Yeah.
so.
So that's
Okay,
just
perfect.
one.
That's good.
But I know streets are always a hot topic, and if we can get additional funding to help.
So
Yeah.
we could do 3 and 5 and whatever, maybe we could do more than one.
There's a,
Also,
we can, yes, we can submit multiple proposals, but. Any other agenda items?
I don't know if this goes, but I need to ask the question about the voting stations, the new ones that just came up.
Oh, the
They have those new,
locations.
yeah, the new locations. They have them in Battle Creek and I think it's in Marshall
Actually.
or Battle Creek and,
No, Albion residents can only vote early voting over at the Marshall site.
okay.
So yeah.
So we'll be able to, you'll give that information out when it's time for them. Okay, I was just wondering if we could get one, we might can't get it this year, but maybe.
No, it's currently going. Early voting started Saturday.
But we can't get one here.
Yeah, she's talking about the location.
A
Maybe we
location.
Get one for November.
No, because we partnered with the county for the entire year because of the cost, because you have to have.
Oh, you got
separate
staff.
event, you have to have staffing, it's a big undertaking.
When we brought that agreement
Yeah.
before council.
I was gonna say, now that,
That was just approved.
now that I hear her talking about it, she did bring that.
That was the agreement that the council approved to participate in
With-
that,
Yeah,
in
okay.
that early voting side.
So we can look at it for another time though, hopefully.
No, unless you have a pocket full of money. And I make staff to run it.
Okay.
It's a big, well, I just went today and actually to both of the sites and it's a huge undertaking. So most of the communities in Michigan are partnering with their counties.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Thanks for the information.
Any other agenda items? Public comment at this time. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council, you may do so. Just come forth, give us your name and address, and 3 minutes is yours.
I am the aforementioned Alice Smith of 1209 Adams Street. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. The rest of you, it was a foregone conclusion. I mean, raise your hand if you ever spent more than 15 minutes talking to me, even when I served with you on council. You may be 20. You, I spend a couple of times a month. You I served with. You, I have never spent more than 15 minutes with you, and you know it.
Almost 15.
No, it wasn't. Anyway, this is a foregone conclusion. I make a motion, we reupholster these benches here. These things are murder. And as I said the last time I was up here, remember the 4th of November.
Vicky Clark, 813 North Eden Street. I don't know if this is something that we have to for you or not, but I would like to know, applicants as far as people that have applied for the EDC. how many have applied or, and who, what conditions or why they were denied or whatever. So that's just something I would like to know because it's a process that needs to move forward as soon as possible. Thank you.
Juanita Solis Kidder, 1211 Edward Street. We want to make Albion a destination. But lots of places that I go to, they talk about our divisions. That's all I was gonna say about that because I'm a very positive person, try to be. The first thing I want to say is thank you to everybody that came out and supported Men Who Cook. We had a wonderful time. The men were outstanding with their food, delicious. Some of them first-time people like Mr. Elmer over here. And he enjoyed it and he had a lot of fun. He's already signed up for next year. Probably fed about 250 people in that short time between 12:30 and 2. And it's just a nice event, bringing the community together to share a meal. The other thing that I want to talk about is I'm on the Arts Commission. And so celebrating Black History Month, we have an event this Thursday, the open house at Isman House between 6 and 8. And we'll have light refreshments. And we are having Black artists exhibit their work in different forms. So it'll be on the main floor of the Isman House on Friday and Saturday between 12 and 6. And down in the garden level, we have Carolyn Amos serving soul food. And that's a cost to it. You know, you have to buy the food, support Carolyn with her delicious food. But then you get to support our Black artists in town. You are able to purchase their works of art. So everybody's welcome and it's free.
Except for the food.
Huh?
Except for the food.
Except for the food. But you gotta pay for the food, just like you paid for the food at Men Who Cook.
Miss Wanda, do you have a flyer?
I don't, for what? For the
Any of them that you talked to, you have a flyer?
no, it's in the e-news today and it's in the
I emailed it out to council. I can resend it so
Thank
you
you.
have that
Thank
flyer.
you so much.
so spread the word because that's how people find out about things. Thank you.
Virgie Ammerman, 305 East Main Street in Homer, Michigan. I wanted to congratulate you on the decision to move forward with the sale of Maple Grove. I'm especially excited to hear that the construction and the rehab might start very quickly. I've never been involved in one of these type of transactions that the HAP transfer alone doesn't take 6 to 8 months, but I'm just super excited to hear that that's not gonna be a holdup in this one, so I'm very excited. As far as affordable housing goes, both preservation and creation go hand in hand. So I look forward to being able to support this preservation project because that is what affordable housing does. We regenerate the affordable housing. So preservation and creation is very much hand in hand. And of course, we have all the extra space behind that can still be developed. So I know in our plans that we were looking at, that was certainly a potential to find a way to develop more housing on that empty lot. So I look forward to partnering with your buyers as their developers, and I will be happy to help at any way I can, and I hope I can still get the information that I was looking for, so I can at least advise on, you know, some of the negotiations and what we can do to make this the most feasible and most economical for the city and the folks that live there. And then I think I heard, Mayor, that you mentioned that there was a closed session, I think you call it, on this. And I don't know why that would have been, because only go into closed session to buy a property, but I may be confused. So if there's any way that the details from AHA or M&M could be somehow provided to the public, because, you know, maybe a study session explaining the ins and outs of this would be helpful, and then, you know, the community could benefit from that, and then we could all benefit from pitching in and bringing our, you know, our knowledge and past history. So again, congratulations, and I had no idea you were gonna be able to start right away. That's awesome news. So congratulations.
Any other comments? City manager's report. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dave Ashton, I live here in Albion. Well, the hypocrisy is running pretty good in here tonight. We got the president and CEO of the EDC, talking about they're working on fiscal responsibility. Yet she's spending $16,000 of our money to hire a friend to come and talk at a rate of $200 a minute. $16,000, gonna give a 45-minute presentation and chat for 30 minutes. So that's over $200 a minute. I don't think that's fiscally responsible. And then we have some members of council that before we came back at session, went up and told Mr. Smith, you know, if you're gonna get voted down, I'm not gonna be an outsider. So when I vote no, because we all knew how the vote was gonna come, that's pathetic. You're supposed to have a spine. You're supposed to do what you think is right. Vote your conscience, not, oh my God, I don't want to be an outsider. That's embarrassing. Okay. And back to the EDC, we have the chairman of the board of directors. Okay. And when questioned about why are you spending this money to hire somebody to come speak at a church, spending $16,000, the chairman of the board of directors and the board of directors are there to oversee what's going on. His answer is the president CEO does not need to explain how she spends the money. That's not the right answer. And you wonder why people in this community don't trust this government?
They didn't trust the EDC issue. Any other public comments? City manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. A copy of my report has been sent out to you all, and a hard copy is included in the desk, as well as published with the packet. Just a few different updates. Congressman Tim Walberg, he will be here tomorrow, February 21st, from 9:30 to 11:15 to host a town hall or meet and greet session. So if you're interested in a meeting with our congressman, feel free to come out, and he will have it here at City Hall. I did send out to city council in an email, as well as included in my manager's report, a project status report detailing current and upcoming infrastructure projects. We have a lot going on here within this year, and then really 2025 is, I would say 2024 is the calm before the storm. 2025, we have a lot going. So please share that with your constituents. It will explain what's coming up. We did, for our water system improvement project, we were notified at the end of last week that additional DWSRF loan funding has become available. So the city has been awarded an additional $2,125,869 in loan dollars for the water system improvement project. So this additional award makes for a total of $12,258,999 through the Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund. Since we qualify as an overburdened community, the interest rate for that loan is 2% for whether it be a 20, 30, or 40 year loan term. And this is excellent news for the finance side. For the project, when talking with Baker Tilly, the financial advisor we brought on board to assist us with the project, they've said this is the best rate out there right now. So we are very fortunate to receive the additional funding. And by getting this extra funding, it decreases the city remaining match that we will work with the USDA to secure that. So good news. I think that's the most grant funding or grant loan max that we've received for an infrastructure project. And I just want to highlight, so the Granger waste refuse system, I think there's some confusion because we had Granger reach out to us with residents calling. So now the bulk item pickup is every Friday, but it's still the same terms as before. You're only allowed one free item each month. You can call to have it picked up any Friday of the month, but just one free item. If you have more than that, you will have to pay the additional fee for the other item. So I think there was some confusion where people thought they got a free bulk item every Friday, but it's just one item. You can call to have it scheduled any Friday of the month. So we just want to share that information with your constituents because I know Granger, they're getting a lot of calls from our residents. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for City Manager Snyder? Councilmember comments? Hello?
Thank you so much. I just want to say that, my time here on council, I'm going to promote the, working together with all Albion entities. No matter who don't like it, I'm gonna always want to see my manager and whoever has the position of the EDC. It don't have to be a woman or a man. They don't have to be black or white. They can be green or purple. So if anybody has a problem with me promoting the togetherness, because that is what I am trying to do. It might be bumpy roads or whatever, but I'm still gonna promote it. I'm still gonna promote it for the best interest of the people. If I need more information on something to make an informed decision, I feel like I should not be denied of that. There has been many a times that we have had people come up, experts come up to the podium and give us extra information that we may be seeking. So I'm very upset about me not being able to make a informed decision. So that is why I said no, because I wasn't able to make an informed decision. That's just me, you know, everybody else, you know, they got what they needed, but I didn't have what I needed. Also on my council journey, I have sat on this board with Mr. Smith. So I have spent quite a few year or two with him. So I just wanted to clear that up. I am excited to see that elevating Black voices. I am glad that my culture is being put out there and using their gifts to educate people or whatever it may be. So thank you for celebrating a little bit of Black history with Albion. No matter how the cost is, you know, we spend money on a lot of things, but you know, the culture really needs to be put out there a little bit, and so that everybody can mend together and know each other's culture and know a little bit about each other. So no matter who doesn't like it, I would like to even see a Greek person come in, you know, with food or whatever. And I think we do have one over here. I'm not sure if it's Greek or Mediterranean, but let's celebrate all voices, you know, if we can, if it's in our budget, you know, let's just celebrate it. So it just touched me a little bit when someone just didn't like the idea of having this type of place to go and learn some things. But I had a good night tonight. I just thank y'all so much for bearing with me. And you too, Ms. Mayor. So I had a good night tonight.
Any other council member comment? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned, 8:47 PM.